Madan, if it's a pause for now and not a pivot as the governor said, do you expect a pivot to happen?
No, I think the MPC will be very watchful of how the inflation trajectory moves. As I mentioned, the next 2 months, that is for March and April, we will be getting low numbers. I think the important part will be as to the development of El Nino. Because we have seen in the past that when we've had an El Nino event, and by the law of probability or just looking at past patterns, this should be a big event rather than a small event. We can distinguish between big events and small events. The last big event, I think, was in 15, 16. So every 7 years, we have a big event. There will definitely be an impact in terms of certain agricultural crops being affected because we have seen the pattern of Indian monsoon is such that even when we have a normal monsoon, especially the hinterland, the rain shadow areas which grow primarily oil seeds, pulses are the ones which could be vulnerable. So I think the RBI will be cognizant of this particular fact and they will watch to see as to how the monsoon fares, how specific zones react to this particular monsoon shortage or whether, if at all, there's a drought anywhere. And accordingly, take a call on whether you need to actually change the book turnover and then say we're going to start lowering the rates. And even given the fact that I thought that in this particular policy, even if there was a rate pause, there was a good reason for one to change the stance, but the RBI has felt that we are still in the accommodative mode, and the accommodative mode has been defined by saying that the inflation is 6.5, repo rate is 6.5. In 2019, we had 2% inflation, 6.5% repo rate. Therefore, the stance is still accommodated. There's lots of accommodation in the market. I would tend to think that probably September, October, after evaluating the situation, there could be serious consideration of whether to lower the rates. That is when you probably go in for a pivot. Not before that. And in between, we of course have the oil impact, because at some point of time, the government will also give, and they may start increasing retail prices. And while we were talking of the fuel part, we should also remember that while petrol and diesel have not been affected, the price of LPG has been increased continuously. I think that's one thing which we tend to forget, and that's adding to overall inflation. So I think probably September, October, not before that, when it could be reconsidered.
Okay, viewers, what Madan Sabnavis is saying is that if it's a pause today at the beginning of the financial year and within the first week of April, he's talking about a possibility of a cut uh, in September or October. Now, this is obviously a possibility and a significant one at that. What would be the circumstances that would merit a cut? Because for all practical purposes, we could now also run a headline as you speak, Madan, that you believe that this is the end of the hiking cycle.
It looks very much that it's the end of the hiking cycle because I do not expect this inflation number to turn nastier from the 6.4% which we have. And going by the RBI's projections on inflation, we're actually talking of the number moving well below 6%, and you're ending at 5.2% in the fourth quarter, which means that as long as we have this difference of 1.2, 1.3% real interest rate, there will be no justification for increasing the rates. But there could be a judgment call at some point of time saying that we've always seen that inflation numbers tend to surprise us, where we could be getting low inflation numbers, say for 3 successive months. Let's assume they get less than 5%, then probably we could be talking of an interest rate cut. So what I meant was that until September, October, until we assess the monsoon situation, there's definitely no case of thinking of a pivot. But maybe in case we do see that we have good monsoon, wonderful monsoon, production is very good, likely to be very good. In that particular case, I think there would be serious consideration, and post September, October, there could be a cut considered.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share, and subscribe.